All right, no music today, folks. No music today. This is going to look a little different tomorrow. All right. But I hope everyone's having a good evening. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The days will get long. We're going to go long tomorrow. All right. So I want to do a quick short video to explain to everybody what we're doing and, explain a little bit more on how we're going to work this pay-per-view thing out. I wanted to make it as cheap as possible, right? See how just anybody could get it. Locals, and I see some of your comments right now, and I'm going to walk you through, by the way, where you can find the election results. Anybody can find the election results, all right? They are free to everyone. They are not behind the paywall on PPD. They are not accessed only through locals. Everybody has access to the live election results. We have maps for the Senate, the House, with very cool balance of power bars. You click on each state, race, congressional district, whatever. I'm going to show you all this. We're going to do this quickly so you know how to do it when it happens tomorrow. All right. We have Senate, House, governors, secretaries of state, and attorney general. We have maps for all of them separately. We have links for all of them separately. And there should be an overall dashboard coming up as well. And on the Senate level, we have them, and I'm thinking about doing it, where you can look at the overall map with the balance of power and then take another link if you only want to look at a page with Senate races, county by county. Now, you can get them all like that, and I'm going to show you how. You just click on, let's say you want to look at the Senate race in Florida. You click on the Senate race in Florida. The big map will disappear. The map of Florida only will pop up, all of the counties, and you can go through details of each county as you want to. And then it's like a drill down. There'll be a back button, return to the map. All right, so it's not overwhelming on a page. They did a really good job, from 2020. These graphics have come a very long way. They look beautiful. 2020 was nice. They were great. But they have come a very long way, and I want to applaud the people at Decision Desk for doing this and partnering. All right. This is how it's going to go. This is the best way I could figure this out. I'll get to how I plan on doing it. There are basically going to be 3, if not 4 ways to watch. One of the 3 immediately off the bat, if we can get the 4th, we'll get it. But all of them are only going to be on YouTube because it's the only way that I could do a pay-per-view. All right, so $5 is one tier, $10 is another tier, $15 is another tier. The $5 one is election night. All right, so you can sign. And what is it, a tier? If you sign up and become a member on YouTube. All right, it's the best way we could do it. If you pick the first tier, you have election night coverage, and we're going to go into the wee hours of the morning. All right. If you pick the second tier, you'll get election night plus the videos we do during updates this week. And then the third tier is all of that, plus if we have any runoffs or anything like that. Now, listen, straight up, I can tell you we may not have any runoffs. Walker was performing, not, Senate runoffs. Walker was performing much better in the polling at late in the game, but you never know. You never know whether he'll outwardly avoid one or not. Okay, you just, polling aside, elections are I should say the American people can be unpredictable, so we just don't know. So I figured I'd do that. Locals, you're already members, which means you subscribe for $5 a month, or you get a discount by getting an annual subscription. It kind of pisses me off that you would have to be forced to pay that when all of you people have stood and, been part of this community for a long time. Met some of you new, and by the way, welcome to all you new members. We have done well getting new members during election season, but some of you have been with us a very long time. I have multiple things. You can't see it. If I could turn the camera, I'd show it to you. I have this camera right here that I'm looking at right now that's going to be for the stream, but I'm also going, and Barnes is going to join us. All right. So I'm also going to be popping off, and he'll, by the way, have the ability to check out results with you. I'm also going to be popping on and giving other networks updates, right? Maybe at the top of the hour, I jump off, I talk with Steve Bannon for 5 or 10 minutes. You'll be able to hear and see it if you want to, all right? And Daily Wire, we have 2 showings scheduled, not very many in an election night. All right, so we'll see how it goes. And I'd really like to jump. I'd really like to jump on if I can with my buddy Frank. Quite frankly, and if you missed tonight's conversation, which is basically an exclusive for him, I respond to Ron DeSantis responding, or the Florida Voice responding with a denial of something that doesn't exist. But in any event, I would like to give him some time. He's always great. Frank's a good guy. He's a good. Not only does he have a good show, he's a good guy. So he's always like so modest. Nah, no, you got all these networks calling you. Screw that. He's a good guy. I consider him a friend, and I would like to try to make a couple of minutes for him just to let his audience know what's going on. All right. But other than that, it's just going to be us doing not a very, crazy cable news kind of thing. We're going to go through what I'm going to show you right now, and let's actually do it. All right. And of course, I'll probably do a few reads here for the advertisers. We wouldn't even have a show if it wasn't for them. But you guys know, if you watch the show, it's not exactly 5-minute commercial breaks. All right. I do 30 to 60 seconds of a read. I mean, it's quick. All right. If you go right now, let's check it out. If you go to People's Pundit Daily right now, haven't seen that in a while, right? And actually, I should have logged out, but what the hell are you going to do? If you go to People's Pundit Daily right now, you will see the election results. Remember last year or 2 years ago? That's them down there. We archive them, right? So it looks familiar. If you click on these links, they take you to those results. So far on the front page, we just have the links for the Senate and the House, and I'm going to show you why. Pretty cool though, right? I told you, they did a really good job. I like the ones this year better. I think they're, I don't know, prettier. What can you, nicer, prettier, whatever you're going to call them. All right, let's pull this up. It's loading. Little quick information. All right. Oh, by the way, how can you do it? Just go join right now to the People's Pundit YouTube channel. People's Pundit YouTube channel. Just go and join and sign up for whatever tier you'd like to sign up for. Because when the video gets put up, and you're going to see this if you're waiting, you'll see, because the video itself is going to be scheduled very soon. And you'll see when you click on it that this is a member-only video, it's going to say. And I'm not even sure how much YouTube takes. I mean, I know what they think, but I don't know how much they're actually going to get out of this pot. And the very idea burns me. But really, it was the only thing we could think to do. All right, live results for the 2022 U.S. elections between the Republican minority led by Mitch McConnell and Senate Chuck Schumer's Democratic majority. Democrats controlled the 50-50 U.S. Senate only due to Vice President Kamala Harris being the tie-breaking vote. A net gain of just one seat will swing the balance of power in the upper chamber. Coverage on People's Pundit Daily is in partnership with Decision Desk. Decision USA. Actually, that has to be changed. That's incorrect. All right. House, you can click here. There's a little dashboard thing. I was going to make tabs, but I didn't want to add any more JavaScript. So we went bare bones so the map didn't slag on you or anything. All right. House, Governor, Laura's calling right now, even though I told her I was going to do this video. House, Governor, Secretary of State, Attorney General. We click on any one of these, and here, I'll send you guys this link right now. All right, let's go to Twitter. Sorry if you're watching on Twitter. I will tweet it out, okay? Here is the link to the live results. Live Senate results, okay? There it is right there. Okay, sound good? And now you have it. They'll also, look, I just put People's Pundit Daily in the description, but tomorrow I will put every single link in there. All right, so here is the Senate, right? So like, remember last year, there was the map, or I keep saying last year, you know what I mean? There was the map, and then when you click on the actual state, it dropped down, and look, it was a lot of API calls, and when it's coming in hard and heavy, it's a lot. So I like what they did this year with slimming it down. I think it was smart. I definitely approve of what they did, and it looks great. All right, so there was some test data here, and I didn't want to publish it until the test data was gone. All right, but you will see little lines for runoffs, okay? For instance, you can click on any of these littler states. Right, Connecticut's an interesting one. That one right now is kind of leans Democrat for Blumenthal. But then you have New Hampshire, which is back to being a pure coin toss. St. Elmsome College, which is the best pollster in New Hampshire, the most accurate in the past, has Don Baldack up by 1. But some other really good pollsters have Hassan up by 1 or 2. It's going to be, by all accounts, a close race. Very interesting. You can hover on there. Or you can look at the map if you want to and go to New Hampshire here. But let's say you want to look at Baldack, all right, and Hassan. And you click on it. Notice the map is gone this time. We're trying to keep the load down. All right, so you guys can surf through it with no problems. You can go through townships. They have townships in New Hampshire, not counties, all right? Big old Manchester. Merrimack will be a very important one. If you click on it, it will show you where Merrimack is and what the vote total is there. Now, if Baldock wants to win, obviously he's got Coos is still very Democrat. Well, not very, but it's got a lot of Democrat votes since it's a rural area. But if Baldock wants to win, he's going to have to do well in Merrimack, and then he's going to have to do good in Hillsborough, okay, in Nashua down southeast of Hillsborough, and then in the northeast of Hillsborough, you have Manchester. But Merrimack is where Concord is, all right? And there's a lot of Massachusetts transplants out and around this area, and he just simply cannot get killed there, all right? But we'll get into all that. That's for tomorrow, all right? Check it out. And then when you want to go back, you just hit back to the nationwide map, and that's it. The house map, super cool. Looks really high def, very responsive. They did an excellent job. Excellent job. Loading up. This will give you a tally, all right? Now, for tomorrow, I'm not sure the API is going to be done. If it is, which I hope it is, if it is, there will actually be an interruption on my screen that'll say flip, hold, whatever. And that will tell you whether or not somebody flipped the seat or the seat is being held. But for you, if you want to follow along on here, you can just simply look, and these will run up and tally up. And whoever gets to the little line in the middle here to 218, obviously will win control of the House of Representatives. Same thing here. What's cool about this? Let's go down to Texas 34, which is Myra Flores' race against Vicente Gonzalez. Another one that was districted to be much more Democratic than the old 34. And it was supposed to be one where Myra Flores was going to have a hard time holding on, yet she is making one hell of a race. You can go county by county results. Hidalgo is going to be an important one. And as you click on them, it will show you the county, okay? I think they did a great job. Let's look at governors. Which is really just this, the governors, the Secretary of State, and the Attorney General, same thing. All right. Governors, this one's going to be a freaking blowout. Let's look at Ron DeSantis. And there's Miami-Dade. We're going to be keeping an eye on that. That's going to be really something else. All right. I have long said that Miami-Dade is going to go Republican. I have been mocked and ridiculed since 2016 because Trump only got 30-something% of the vote there. But it was all a matter of time. There were a bunch of newly naturalized citizens in the waiting, and they were not, simply because they were Hispanic. They were not going to vote Democrat. And in 2020, it was very clear that started to happen. DeSantis, being a popular governor, is able to capitalize on the gains that Donald Trump made in Miami-Dade, and Trump almost carried it. He definitely would carry it again in 24 if he runs, which, yes, there are rumors tonight that he will announce in Ohio. I've tried to reach out to a couple sources. I did not abuse the one that probably knows for sure whether he's going to tonight, but I've been busy, and it is what it is. We'll see. Well, I guess we'll all find out very soon here. But yeah, that will be very interesting. But you can also go county by county. A lot of my stomping ground. Gator Nation. This will be interesting here. It's a very blue county, but I know a lot of people who are voting for DeSantis have already voted for DeSantis, even though they're Democrats, because he fought the school board on school masks. There is still a very Democratic but working constituency in some of these working class suburbs in which I lived. I know these people. And they would otherwise vote for a Charlie Crist or, definitely Bill Nelson. They loved Bill Nelson, but they did not and will not vote for Charlie Crist this time. A lot of these people, because of what they were put through, and the school boards refused to follow the law. You remember DeSantis had to sue them. It was a big deal. And to this day, parents that Laura and I still know, Democrats that were, our children's friends' parents, we know a lot of them that voted for Ron DeSantis. All right. So this will be interesting to watch here because we know Miami-Dade's going, but you have Palm Beach, you have and obviously Osceola. There's still a lot of Democratic strongholds. Duval, I would not be surprised if that swung back Republican. Pinellas County is definitely swinging Republican. How close does Hillsborough get? That used to be the bellwether county. And again, I argued it was no longer the bellwether. The media was way behind. The bellwether was Pinellas. Now we're not even at that point. All right. But it used to be that way. Pinellas was supposed to be Biden plus 10 and ended up being separated by like 200 votes. It was basically even. Ron DeSantis lost it in 2018. He is going to win it this time. All right. It's just a question of by how much. All right, Leon, obviously, where Tallahassee is, that's going to go for Charlie Crist. But Duval probably will not. It will be interesting to see how some of these places go. DeSantis is killing it on some of these Eastern Atlantic counties where Republicans don't always do that well. And he's going to do much better in Monroe than he did the first time around. It was not a good performance by a Republican in Monroe, his first go, but he's going to do better there now. All right, so with that in mind, let's get rid of Alachua, go back to the map. All right, so you get the feel of it. We'll probably have some, sponsors down here or whatever, but maybe not. I don't want to load the page up with so much crap. I just want you guys to be able to follow along and be able to, to be able to follow along with what I'm doing. Okay. All right. So I think that is pretty much good to go with that for right now. It's up there. Feel free to check it out and play with it. It's going to be really cool. All right. We'll have a lot of fun doing it. And since I didn't put, one more thing, I'll give you the straight up. Well, should I just publish it now and then give it to you? There are poll open and closing times. Yeah, I'm going to do it now. And then I'll just give you guys I'll go back and I'll do it all myself after. But this is going to go up. This is the poll open and closing time for every single state. And just remember that this is local time. Every single state on this table is in local time. All right. And locals, you've had this actually. I give you the direct source to this link. All right. Speaking of locals, let me get into what there it is. By the way, that's going out. Locals, you have it. I don't think I need to send that to you. All right. So this is what I'm trying to do for locals. I got the camera right now. That's for our stream. All right. I have a whole bunch of equipment over here. That's for external networks. All right. And that you won't see. So you'll see when I'm going to talk to like Bannon or something, I'm going to be looking off. All right. And we'll talk and you'll hear it back and forth. I may even pop it on so you can hear Steve coming at you. I think that's probably the best thing to do. Pop the sound of the earbud off. I'm going to have a separate mic totally for Steve and you'll be able to hear it through another laptop or something. Maybe I'll let you see Bannon that way or something, but or Daily Wire. I think I'm doing it with I don't know if Shapiro's hosting. I'm not sure who it will be, but they're only short little clips. I'm thinking if all is going well, all right, then we're going to run some tests, obviously, tomorrow, and then I can stream directly to you. Caleb, you shouldn't have to use the trial on PPD. You shouldn't have to sign up on PPD. It should not be behind the paywall. The prompt may come up, but if anybody's hitting that paywall, let me know. It should be free. It's set to free without prompt. So hopefully you do not get the metered paywall. Oh, it is metered. Oh boy. Okay. Killing it all right now. Hold on. Sorry about that. You're right. Thank you, Caleb. Do not use it. Don't subscribe to PPD. PPD is getting turned into something else. Once we were targeted by Google the way we were, the only way to do this was to evolve and do something else. PPD, if you're still subscribed, that's fine. And eventually, the subscription to PPD will basically be access to a lot of archive stuff, market data, elections data, stuff like that. But I won't want you to sign up on People's Pundit Daily. You shouldn't hit the paywall. I'm making them all public right now. I'll even purge the cache to make sure that I don't know if you guys know what that means, but I'm going to make sure that it knows. I'm going to clear and preload the cache. Okay, good. Thank you, Caleb, for telling me that. Do not subscribe to PPD. I'm trying to actually phase you guys out and only have people on there who really want to look at all that archive data. The rest of it, just to let you guys know, People's Pundit Daily is going to be redirected eventually. I've been very busy with the elections. Maybe that'll be our project off election cycle. It'll be peoplespundit.tv. And there'll still be all the maps. There'll still be all the data. There'll still be all the market analysis. But it will just be focused on the shows that we do, clips that maybe I have from media appearances, stuff like that. And that will be the extent. I love writing. I do. I just telling Laura the other day how much I missed being the editor of People's Pundit Daily. I absolutely loved it. Having all people send their submissions to us. It was great. We had columnists, we had staff writers, great policy people, you know, but things all have to change, you know. Yeah, so there we go. I really, 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 really would like to try to get it so locals, you just have, if I can stream it right to locals, I just make it a local supporter video. And then you don't have to sign up to that. All right. All right. So how do you become a member? There should be a link that says join. And that will be what you want to do. All right. There looks to be a lot of people are doing it. That's great. But I'm not really, clear on what some of those questions are. There's a join button and you pick your tier. All right. Member only kind of thing. So, well, that is basically it. All right. So it starts, Laura, you over there? You over there? It starts at 6:30, I believe, no, or 6. And then 6 or 6:30, I can't remember when Barnes is going to be there. Because Barnes, I'm going to jump on, give a real quick pregame. No, that's right. Charlie's not doing that. So we're starting at 6. 6, right, Laura? Well, you're going to see when I schedule the video. And the reason why is because I would like to go over tomorrow what to expect for a lot of these states. I actually would like to go state by state kind of and say, look, this is how the vote is reported in this state, because it's not 6:30, she's saying. It's not the same for each state. So in New York, we're going to get early vote dump, right? And believe me, it's not going to be the end of it. But then we're going to get election day. Lee Zeldin's probably going to be performing very strong. And the question will be whether or not there's enough vote that trickles in. You guys don't remember the race with Turney, for instance, the Republican congresswoman? They basically just kept trickling in these votes and trickling until her lead dwindled down significantly. That will not be, that will not be any different this time. In Pennsylvania, we'll get a big early vote dump. Boom, Fetterman's going to take a big lead, but then the election day vote is going to come in. Oz is going to take a lead. Fetterman just sued, I kid you not. He just asked a federal judge to count undated ballots. Even though it went through the freaking Supreme Court, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, who ordered they be isolated, because once they're removed from the envelope, folks, it's a major problem. But they were ordering them to be isolated until the Supreme Court had time to really talk about whether or not in the future these ballots were legit. What Fetterman wants is a liberal judge. He ran to a liberal judge, so he's probably going to get it. He ran to a liberal judge hoping for an immediate, basically kind of an injunction, a ruling that makes these supervisors count these ballots and integrate them in with the other ballots. Doesn't even matter then if another court later says, no, that's illegal. What part of these other two rulings did you not get? They don't care. They want them put into the batches, and then they'll trickle in. Now, they don't count their early vote last, Andre. It's just that they keep trickling in. They'll pump a big chunk of that early vote first. And then Oz will take a lead. And then what you will see is that late batches being counted and fed that they'll say arrived Monday, Sunday. And then there'll be more. There'll be more that actually arrive after. And you remember Oz and McCormick wanted to count these ballots. They'll say, we're done for tonight. They'll close up shop. It will be crazy, but we'll do our best to help explain it to you with what's going on. Even if it's not nefarious, it's still total BS that they even do it this way. All of this can be fixed so easily. All of it can be fixed so easily. That's why I'm always such a cynic, because I just don't see why everyone can't be like Florida. I don't see what good reason anybody has to not fix their elections. I just don't see it. Why would you want to sow distrust? All of these threats to democracy, I'll tell you what's a threat to democracy. John Fetterman on the even an election in the 12th, 14th hour, whatever that saying is, 11th hour, filing a lawsuit because he knows he's down. I mean, nobody is this stupid. And the media is not either. That is what is going to really cause a problem one day. I really do fear that. It's not going to be some talk about January 6th or some, attack on Paul Pelosi. That's not going to do it. that's not the real threat to civil unrest. When elections happen, people's emotions are hyped. They're super hyped. And it's not a good idea to play around like this. All right. And then on the flip side of that, you'll have something like Arizona, and which is very close to what you'll see with Pennsylvania, except there will be a lot more vote in Arizona early reported, a lot more. All right. There'll be, 1.5 million dropped immediately. Boom. And then there'll be the election day vote. We'll watch that margin shrink. Probably watch Kerry Lake first and Kimberly Yee take leads. And then we'll have to see whether the remaining early vote, if people came in and dropped them off on election day, that's where we're going to have these updates over the next week at least. Maricopa County told us last week it could take 11 days for that vote to be counted. I really hope that's not true. But there are a lot of people in our surveys, a lot of people that refuse to say that they would finally drop that vote off in the mail before election day or vote on election day. Because if you have if you have a mail-in ballot and you go to bring it in and then vote with another ballot on your election day ballot, they're going to count your election day ballot as a provisional ballot in Arizona. Well, they'll count them with the provisionals. And that also will be counted along with the ones who drop them off anyway. So it almost really doesn't matter. It's just that it won't be counted that day. It won't. Your vote will not count on election day. All right. What else? Yeah, so tomorrow I want to go through some of these in a lot more detail so you can understand what's going to happen. Florida's the same way. You're going to get a lot of absentee ballot dump. Then you'll get in-person early voting. And then you'll get election day. And there may be some absentee ballots that'll be counted after the fact, but it won't be nearly as ridiculous as some of these other states because it's very simple what Florida does. And I don't mind even doing that with this video because I think everyone gets the gist of how it's going to go tomorrow. But in Florida, when you cast your vote early, let's say you go vote in person early. You go there, the lady's got the book, the tablet, please sign here, match the signature, verification is done right there, boom, done. With absentee ballot voting, verification is done way before election day if you get your ballot in. The law allows them to handle ballots a lot earlier, where a lot of these states have rules explicitly prohibiting them from handling the ballots earlier, like Arizona. As long as you have the right system and trained people in place, as Florida has shown you, there is no reason why you can't process absentee votes earlier than election day. Nobody's tallying them up. They're being processed, fed in, and we'll have the numbers immediately when it's time for the polls to close. Also, again, if you were to drop a ballot off, that's an absentee vote. You walk into your supervisor of election, here, I'm dropping off my ballot. They're going to verify that ballot and that signature right then and there. Then there's the biggie. If your ballot is not in by 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on election day, your ballot does not count. Period. There is no big fuss. Every election in Florida, I couldn't get my ballot in. There was 100,000 people who wanted to vote, but they just couldn't get the ballot in. With 4 weeks of early voting, they just couldn't do it within that time frame. No, that doesn't fly. You had all of this time to get your ballot in. You should have got it in. Otherwise, folks, it's, oh my God, and that's why Brenda's gone, by the way. Oh my God, we just found, here's this whole palette. We overlooked them. No, it matters. And that's why a state with 14 million voters can count their ballot, can count their votes in literally a few hours. Where a state like Arizona takes a week to get the lion's share of their votes counted. It's crazy. All right. What else do we want to talk about? Locals, again, I really hope we can make this work because there are separate CPUs taking different, stream loads, CPUs. I'm hoping that we have it low enough where we can do it. Plus, everything's going to be hardwired. So as long as everything's hardwired, it should go pretty quick. I don't want to promise it. I just hope that's the case. And then if it is, then you guys, I mean, if you want and you know you're going to watch on YouTube, get your tier now. And I see a bunch of you are. But if you're a locals subscriber, you may want to wait until tomorrow. And if I can figure it out, then great. If I can't, then that's that's unfortunate. It's just the way it's going to be. I wish Rumble had some alternative to this as well, but we don't. All right, that's it. This whole experience, though, has gotten me really wanting to do more with direct to locals, because everyone can. That's one good thing about YouTube. Let's face it. How many of you are watching on television right now? How many of you turned your television on and put it in and popped your app up and said, I'm going to watch it on TV? On locals, if you have an Amazon Fire Stick, the locals app is right there, and you can watch it on your TV. All right. You hit the join button, eh? But don't worry, if you guys can't do it today, can't figure it out today, don't worry. When you see the video scheduled tomorrow, it will be a members only video. So when you go to click on it, it's going to prompt you. I see a bunch of you are figuring it out, but when you go to click on that video tomorrow, it's going to say, this is a members only. You want to join or not? All right. So, and then it'll allow you to. Yeah. Xbox on the TV, the YouTube app is so good. Moo Gaming said it is. I know. I get it. Trust me. When my kids go, going to sleep or something, I want to turn on like rain sounds. I mean, what do? You go right to boom, pop it on. It's good. I get it. I do. I understand. That's why I kind of broke down and said we're going to do it on YouTube, even though I really didn't want to. Some interesting stuff here I thought I'd share with you. Data for Progress, a left-wing outfit, interestingly came out with a poll that was almost identical to ours in Arizona, giving Blake Masters a 1-point lead. Also equally interesting in Arizona is that Data Orbital came out with a poll that gave Mark Kelly a 1-point lead. However, their projection is for Masters. And the reason, I think, is very simple. If you look at their undecideds, they obviously don't believe they're very good for Mark Kelly. And then also, too, the early vote is not what Democrats were hoping for. All right. David. Rich, I'm going to call you 7 times during the live feed tomorrow and drive Laura nuts. I swear to God, we'll block you. No, David, maybe you can hop on with us for a little bit, brother. What do you think? By the way, I have to break the news to you. Sabato's crystal ball moved it to leans Republican. Did you not? Why? It's exactly what you said, brother. They don't think Hispanics are going to vote. So I know that chaps your ass and it chaps mine as well, but we'll talk about it a lot tomorrow. All right. How much does Kemp outrun Walker? That's a really good question. I mean, for a while, it was looking like 10 points, but it does not look like that's going to happen. Even if we pull up real quick the map. Oh, no, the map goes to my polling. We have we always had it pretty close. I'm a little bit shocked that there were so many people that had Kemp really running away while Walker was like down. We never had it like that. So Fox 5, inside advantage, Walker +2, Kemp +5. We have Walker +2, Kemp +7. All right. Landmark, WANF TV Landmark, which, by the way, I don't know if you notice, RCP's rankings, they're among the worst. Kemp +1, Kemp +6, Walker +1. So, again, 5 points lagging. Whereas Matt at Insider Advantage, he knows Georgia very well. He's only got it a 3-point difference. We had it a 5, but Walker was racing so quick. I wouldn't be shocked at all if 2 things happen. 1, Walker wins this thing outright. 2, it's not that different. It's less than 5 points. And Matt is right. It's like 3. Although I think it's probably, if it's not, it's because, look, Kemp's already at 50, a little above 50. And there's 5% undecided, something ballpark, like less than that, but ballpark. He gets them all and gets to like 53, crushes Abrams, and Walker's at like, 50.1 or maybe not, 48 point something. But all modeling at this point, seriously doubts Warnock's ability. Even Sabato leaned Georgia today to Walker. It's a flip. And that's because of two things. One, Warnock has never been around 50. He doesn't even look like, I'm telling you in our polling, he struggled. And let me get you my trend for where is my set map? Okay. Let me get the publish so I can get the link to it and bring it over here to you guys. Okay. So if we go to my map, which I'm not going to check, because the thing's going to open up in another tab. All right. And we look at the trend that we have had for Georgia. And there is one more poll I need to put in there. It's the second to last one, but I'm going to make it so when you click on these dots, it brings you to the crosstabs. Okay. We have, look, so Warnock's been a low of 41 to now his high of 44 in our polling. He's going to get more than that, likely, I think. All right. But we've had Walker between 46 and 48. So the range is just very, very different. Much better for Warnock. And I think, I want to say Warnock was it is higher, because I think Warnock was at like 47-1 and Walker was like 48.1 and he was at 47 point something. It was really close for a while, but then he fell again. Yeah. So in any event, he hasn't displayed an ability, Warnock, to get to 50. So he's almost doomed for a runoff at best. And the problem, everybody who knows Georgia knows, the debate did rev the motor up for Walker. I just saw that diluted. Everybody who knows Georgia knows that incumbents don't survive runoffs in Georgia. Rich, when it's obvious Nate Silver has been embarrassed, can you give a classic arm up your motion like you did in 2021? Well, look what he's doing today. And then he's accusing everyone else of hurting to his model. I kid you not. David, be my witness. David, where you at, buddy? David, be my witness. David's here. He saw it. He's been steadily moving his model towards the GOP polls. And now he's accusing everyone else of hurting to make it look like his model is right. His model doesn't move until the polls move. It's not a model. It's not a model. It's a poll reactionary thing. David's here. I know he is. He saw it. We should have David on. We should bring on David, who, by the way, if you haven't seen his show, David now hosts America First. Yeah, there's a video in his site. He's even doing it. Are you kidding me? He's even talking about it on a video. He's such a... Yeah, he pushed Oz way up today. Did you see that? Oh, my God. 2.2. I wouldn't even be surprised if it's closer than 2.2. But especially if they're going to count on dated ballots, I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer than 2.2 because of, blah, 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 blah. But I'm still happy that we were the first ones to drop a lead for Mehmet Oz. We were. I waited until that debate. I was like, what's the point of polling before this debate? I know this is going to be catastrophic for Fetterman. And it's one of those instances. Walker, too, I think, is another one, revved, because they lowered the bar for Walker so much that when he exceeded it, I mean, he did a good job by normal standards. So they made him out to be stupid and awful, just awful. So when he came out there and just wiped the floor with Warnock, it was very clear. Plus Warnock's reactions, like he knew he was wrong, guys. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Pastor, that was damning. You should be baptizing babies, not killing babies, Pastor. That was why, because Warnock's look on his face, like as a pastor of a Christian church, he knows in those churches, you don't go in there and tout your support for abortion. You just don't. It's a horrible, tragic, even thought of, and sometimes even if a young woman in that community thinks they have to for economic reasons or because of a bad situation, it's a tragedy. It's not getting rid of a problem like it is in like white suburbia. Oh, I had to just get rid of that problem. That is not the way it is in Black America. It's a tragedy. So believe you me, it hurt. It hurt. All right. All right. So there's where we're at. Also, a word on some of these, because I see somebody mention how Bobert's doing. Folks, she'd be just fine. And I do just want to point out that, did I show you that? Did you even get to see this? You did, right? It doesn't look like you even had it there. All right, well, that was I don't know if I ever showed it to you, but this is the trend, and you can clearly see the range for Walker and Warnock is much different. And in this last one, he shot up to 48. That's October 28th. I mean, just about a week ago, a little over a week ago, he was threatening to hit 50% in our poll. He really was. And then Real Politics, if you go on there, you'll see that it's not just me. And Matt knows his state. By the way, Matt specifically states in his write-up for Fox 10, the poll he does for Fox 10 Atlanta, he specifically stated the turnout in early vote right now, souls to the polls, does not suggest that turnout is heavy among African Americans in Georgia. However, I am waiting it just in case on election day they really ramp up the numbers. It is smart. It is smart. It was a very smart thing to do. Incredibly intelligent thing to do. I would not weight the black vote any less than 30% in the state of Georgia. Every time I think the black vote is going to fall below 30% in Georgia, it does not. All right, but Matt is absolutely right when he says, and maybe I can bring it up here. Let me see. Bring up Matt's commentary because I really do think he's dead on. He is spot on. I know it's going RCP right now. I don't have the link, so I got to grab it. Okay, here he is. Fox 10, Fox 5, Insider Advantage. All right, so he's got Walker up by 2. This is the final poll, but it's a strong 2, like us. He's got him at 49. We had him at 48, but 48 point something, right? So I'm not going to click on it again. You get the gist. He says on this, and I just got hit with a big old ad. Okay, let's share it so I can show you. This is a little pregame tonight, huh? I didn't even mean to do this, but why not? I have a little bit of time. All right, well, we'll read the whole damn thing. Hold on. By the way, the cheap polls in Georgia were way more accurate than the big media polls. We were Trafalgar, Matt at Insider Advantage, and myself. We were the most accurate polls in the Georgia runoff. Matt knows his state. He does. All right, the final Insider Advantage Fox 5, I thought it was Fox 10, Fox 5, poll ahead of Tuesday's midterm election in Georgia shows Republican Herschel Walker with a narrow lead in the race for U.S. Senate and incumbent Brian Kemp continuing to lead in the governor's race. Walker has 49% ahead of Democratic incumbent Raphael Warnock with 47. 1% of the likely voters surveyed said they would vote for Libertarian Chase Oliver, with 4% either choosing other or undecided. In the race for governor, Brian Kemp continues to have a lead of 50%, with Stacey Abrams at 45, the Democratic nominee. Libertarian Shane Hazel has 1%. We also found that Shane Hazel is just 1%. And with the other 4% of likely voters either having no opinion or remaining undecided. In the race for lieutenant governor, which we didn't do, Burt Jones has 50% ahead of Charles Bailey at 43, and Libertarian Ryan Graham has 2. 3% of the people surveyed in the lieutenant governor's race chose other, and 2% have no opinion or undecided. The poll of 550 likely voters in Georgia, which was conducted Sunday, has a margin of error of 4.2%. Our margin is 3%. We had about almost 1,000. Insider Advantage Chairman Matt Towery, who oversaw the poll, says it appears both the race for governor and lieutenant governor appears headed to Republican wins without a runoff. Oh, yeah. In case you didn't know, everybody has to hit 50% in Georgia. It's not just the Senate. Towery sees the governor's race having an impact on the U.S. Senate. Quote, ironically, the poor performance of Stacey Abrams in her contest, and it's ironic because, look, Kemp and Abrams in 18, Kemp barely won. Ironically, the poor performance by Stacey Abrams in her contest appears to be impacting Senator Warnock in his race, Towery said. The final breakdown of early voting in Georgia indicates a less than robust African-American turnout. Our weighting adjusts that demographic at a higher final percentage in the event there is a more traditional, more robust turnout on election day. While and by the way, it has happened. While African Americans traditionally vote in overwhelming numbers for Democrats, our recent surveys have shown Walker with a solid 20% of that vote. We have not found that. We had him at 13%, something like that, but it didn't matter because of this. Among white voters, Walker is surpassing the magic 61% usually needed for a Republican to win in the state. That's right. And actually, if I'm a Republican, I like to see it closer to 2/3 of the white vote. Bare minimum 60, 63 for me. He's right about the magic 61. It's just that African Americans have been voting at a higher rate than whites in many elections as of late. So if you find yourself with a turnout disadvantage between white and black voters, you could really end up, sucking and losing by a razor's edge. But it can happen. All right. We had Walker at 2/3 of the white vote. Brian Kemp's strong performance may well lift all boats and put Walker over the necessary 50+1 needed to escape a runoff. We expect Kemp to hit at least the 54% mark in the final vote and likely above that. I do too. I think Kemp's going to romp it. I'm never going to underestimate Brian Kemp again when it comes to vote share. He gets those undecideds. He was only at 52.5 or something. In the primary, he got like 95% of the 16, 18% that was undecided in our poll. He got like 95% of them. He must have. With the rest of the GOP ticket above 50%, there is an increasing likelihood of a straight-up Walker win. Warnock's best hope is to hold Herschel Walker just under 50 and live to fight on in a now shortened Georgia runoff, which would favor Walker. Let me explain to you what he means. The stupid Republicans in the legislature set the runoff in 2021 to January 5th, despite myself and others trying to explain to them the voting behavior of Republicans during holiday seasons. And while, yes, December 5th is still during the holiday season, if you did it right before or after the new year, Republicans are not going to be around. They take vacations at a higher rate during holidays and observe religious holidays more. They're less likely to vote during those holidays than if it's not, or you give them a little bit of time before them. January 5th, after they just got back from vacation, is stupid. And lo and behold, they were missing 300 to 400,000 voters. They did not turn out between the date that it was scheduled and the base anger from the party not standing up for Donald Trump. It was just a recipe for turnout disaster, and that's what happened. So what he's trying to explain here is that it would favor Walker because they changed it. It was shortened now, and then also because incumbents don't win when they're forced to runoffs in Georgia. That's been the pattern for a while. Insider Advantage was recently named the second most accurate national pollster for the 2016 and 2020 presidential, Senate, and gubernatorial election cycles, and the third most accurate national pollster for the 2020 presidential election cycles by Real Club Politics. The firm is rated ahead of every national news network and newspaper in both the rankings pollster poll multiple states and nationwide. Election day is taking place on Tuesday, November 8th. Yeah, seriously, they were. And congratulations, Matt. Congratulations to Jim, who was tied with number one. Gentlemen, when the day comes that I don't want to say too much, but when the day comes, it's about, I'm coming. I'm coming for that top spot. I am coming. By the way, Atlas Intel, their final generic ballot is Republican +3. Atlas Intel, in case if you haven't heard, I will show you right now. They normally only do national polling. Not normally. That's what they do. All right. So you will find Atlas Intel on Election Recon's ratings, and there it is. Okay. You can see the top 10. There I am at number 2. Tip IBD for national polls. They have an R+0 is R0+7. 98% accuracy. All right. And we have R 0.5 less than an IBD tips bias, but we pull states too. So obviously it's more difficult to hold your accuracy rate above, but we have 93%. Atlas Intel has a D plus 0.4 with a 92%. So obviously, with the way the 2 out of 3 pollsters are polling here, and there's Susquehanna right there, they don't do a bad job either. But I think what happened here is some of Susquehanna's primary polling, and then also because it says to be rated election recon would have to analyze a minimum of 10 polls in the last 4 election cycles. Well, in 2016, Susquehanna was Hillary plus 1 or 2. We were Trump plus 1 in Pennsylvania. And they weren't polling a whole lot back then, but I believe also they had Trump up by 1 in Wisconsin. We had Trump down in Wisconsin in 2020. Excuse me, 2016. We had him up. We were the only ones who had him up. All right. So, but in any event, hold on. Let me answer the phone for Laura. What's up? I'm on the thing right now. I know I'm about to wrap it up, but what's up?
What do you mean? What's up? You're doing the video now?
I'm doing the video. Yeah. I was going over a couple of things. I'm on the phone with Laura, guys. Yeah, I'm live. You want to say hello? Hold on. Well, you're not on speaker. I wouldn't do that to you, but now you are. You want to say hello?
Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
What stream are you doing? Locals?
I did the YouTube so they can become members and join up, but some people are having a hard time. But tomorrow when the video goes up, and actually I'll probably do it first thing in the morning, when the video goes up and they go to see it, it'll say it's a member-only video and it will prompt them to become members. So I know it's a little bit confusing for now with some people, but we'll get there.
Yeah, well, that's why I said I think you should have set that up so it would be easier. And you have to post this on Twitter as well. So because
I did.
Okay.
Yep, I did. I'll do. Believe me, and I will keep doing it. What else was I going to say though? If you go right, guys, if you go right to the there it is. If you go right to my YouTube channel, guys, you don't have to go to the video. If you go right to the channel, you will see a button that says join. When you click on it, I see it right here. It says People's Pundit Daily, join this channel, get access to membership perks. It gives you the 3 tiers: election basics, elections basic, election night plus, elections enterprise. All right. And enterprise is the one that'll give you if there is like, let's say Walker or Warnock doesn't hit 50. That's a runoff. All right. So, by the way, we'll have all the graphics for the runoffs, all of that. All right. And there will be runoff somewhere. I can't guarantee it, but it's like I almost guarantee that there will be runoff somewhere. All right. So, yep. There we go. All right. So, with that in mind, Laura, are you feeling better? Steve wants to know.
Steve Bannon?
No, it is a Steve B, but it's not Bannon.
Oh, I was like, he's on the network.
He's not, no, but it is a Steve, and it's a Steve B. There he is right there. Is Laura feeling better? Go ahead.
I am indeed. I am feeling much better. Thank you for asking. I am alive and well in the world of the living, which is a blessing. Mm-hmm. And the fatigue has faded away. So I am amped for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Bring on your helmets because this is our Super Bowl season.
That's right.
Let's crush them.
Look at you, so partisan. Listen to you. She doesn't have to be objective.
I don't have to be objective.
Look,
I'm Laura Barris. I ain't no pundit. I'm Laura B with a capital B.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'll tell you, generally speaking, it's a load of crap when any pollster or pundit, whatever, tries to say that they're non-partisan or everyone is human and everyone has their own views. And the only question is whether or not you can keep them out of your analysis. Like, for instance, in Nevada, John Ralston, he puts up his latest prediction. He totally ignores the data. There is no data in his prediction, even though he was talking data the entire time. There was early vote. The reason why he didn't bring up any data is because he kept telling people that there could be this big mail dump for Democrats come Monday, and it didn't happen. So he hates Adam Laxalt. So he's like, well, Lombardo's going to win, but Laxalt's going to lose. He offered no evidence whatsoever, even though there are several polls that actually show Laxalt doing better than Lombardo. We have Lombardo doing a little bit better than Laxalt now. The first time we had Laxalt doing better than Lombardo, but both up by 2. But Lombardo was like a little bit under 2. It was a rounded up 2. Laxalt was a little bit over 2. It was a rounded down 2. And yeah, so basically, I didn't see the news about somebody's thing caught my eye. Have you seen the news about the DOJ monitoring certain counties tomorrow, include Racine and Milwaukee? I didn't. I don't know if that, I mean, that the DOJ is totally corrupt, so I'm not in love with that concept. But yeah, I mean,
me of Orca.
But back to Ralston, it does, Orca with the DOJ. Yeah. I mean, what kind of idiots would hire Microsoft and like, trust the federal government to keep your application, your turnout application safe? You stupid idiot, Mitt Romney. That's what he did. I don't know if you guys know what Project Orca was, but they basically attacked the hell out of it. It didn't work. It crashed. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. All
anyway,
right.
You digress back to
Ralston, who, that's a perfect example of, of course, everyone's partisan. Everybody's partisan. But you can't allow that to pervert your objectivity. And what he did is just unbelievably stunning. I mean, there is no evidence that Laxalt is performing significantly worse than Joe Lombardo. He'll do better in rurals probably than Lombardo, although I'm not even sure. And by the way, there wasn't that much of a difference between them in our polling in Clark County. There wasn't. Laxalt was doing, look, they're both benefiting from a swing to Hispanics. And in fact, the really strong performance, Lombardo, Laura, was doing better in Washoe County among whites than Laxalt was when in our first poll.
Yeah.
Laxalt was doing better in Clark with Hispanics. So, and by the way, his model only assumes that independents go for Republicans by about 5 points. That is ludicrous. I mean, look at Emerson. They're higher than us even. Matt Towery, he's higher than us even. That's why they have bigger margins than we do. We have modest overall margins, but the independent vote is about 20 points, with give or take Lombardo doing about 2-3 points better. Or the margin's about 2-3 points wider. It's 21 and 24, 21 and 23, something like that. I'd have to look. That's generally around Dean Heller's margin when he won, but he won only by 2.5 points or something. So there you have it. So if it was 30 or 35, then it's just ugly, and they're going to run away with that shit. I mean, it's going to be a 5-point win. I mean, but I don't know. I just don't see it. I really, really don't see it. What percentage of Biden voters will vote for Kemp? Evan, I have long been skeptical about what Democrats have told us. There are a pretty good number of Democrats who cross over and vote for Brian Kemp, like 15%. I'm very, 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 very skeptical of that. I think in the end, Brian Kemp he's going to do marginally better, but I don't think he's going to do 10 points better with that. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just that our polling is that he's winning independents by a bigger number than Walker. And in fact, he's winning independents when Walker started to struggle with that. There was a moment where he did. He was always winning them in the trend, but there was a moment when Walker started to struggle with independents. Kemp did not. He was still killing it. I just don't see how. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a modest turnout edge for Republicans in Georgia, and then they are also winning independents. So the generic ballot's like Republican plus 10. It's just strongly Republican. I just don't see it. All right, so with that in mind, I think we're gonna boogie woogie here because I gotta make sure I get all nice things, what I gotta get done, and all rested up. And I even still conducting surveys all throughout tomorrow, and soon you'll find out why. Can't tell you now, guys, but you'll find out why. All right. And
we never keep the secret too long now.
Well, it's a secret until we need to
until it's done,
and then they'll learn all about it. But I still am waiting and interviewing all through tomorrow. So until basically the polls close, I'm sure you can use your imagination and figure it out, right? Oh, that's a good. Real quick, I'll give you the Oregon governor shtick. All right, I will. I will tell you that we moved. Let me give you what happened. Okay, so now in our map, you might have noticed that Oregon now is leaning. It's not leaning. It's slightly Democratic. Our model is different, guys. We did expand it over the time, and I think it's even better because I think these election gurus really screw with your head on what probability means. Nate Silver uses it to be a fraud as a tool, so he can later claim that he was right either way. So I think that there needs to be an assignment to these probabilities. So once you are 66% or greater likelihood, then it really means that things are now very likely, highly likely to move in your direction. When you are really 51 to 55%, it's only more likely than not. So that's slightly. And then 56 to 65 is when it really begins to lean. Okay, lean. But understand what that means. It still means that 4 out of 10, it could go the other way. Nate does that to tell you later, well, I was right. All right. And that's the problem. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about, and I know everyone cares about it, and but that's not what it should be about when they're trying to give you information. It should be about you getting an understanding of probable outcomes and why. All right. Like, listen, the Georgia governor's race is a likely Republican seat. People had that as lean for a while. That's not a lean. When a governor is that favored, that is a likely, even highly likely outcome. And solidly means there's a snowball's chance in hell that something else is going to happen. That's greater than 90%. Right? So I would argue Ron DeSantis' chances of winning the Florida governor race tomorrow is 99%. It's not, it's, or 90, what do we have it at? It's high. It's in the 90s.
I think it was 98.
I think it's 98 something. Me too. 97. Excuse me. 97. Yeah, 97.4%. Hugely, immensely likely. To say that like he does, that take it, look at how much he moved Pennsylvania recently, right? And the Wisconsin is another great example. Ron Johnson never had a 78% chance of losing. Never. That's crazy. Tony Evers never had an 82% chance of winning. That's nuts. And then he moves it quick at the end and pretends like he was right. And so, and if he's wrong, he can give a slight favor to a Democrat. He said, well, I told you. I mean, it was like ranging between 78% and 56% the entire time. So you really shouldn't be surprised.
The rule should be.
That is pseudo crap.
Way before.
Of course, because Laura, as you know, these things don't change that much. They don't change that much.
They corral to you, baby.
Yep.
That's what happens when you don't know what you're doing versus you know what you're doing. You, Richie, know what you're doing.
Oh,
they, on the other hand, are losers.
Thank you. Yeah, apparently they just released their finals. And now I think they got odds at like 60-something% or something, or 58 something. I don't even know. But the vote share is stunningly, the vote share, baby, is stunningly close to the big data poll. Stunningly close. It's like, well, those type lines Rich had already. All right, let's allocate the undecideds accordingly. And this is our projected vote share.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. All right. So let me get back to that question though about Oregon before we go, because I do want to give you guys an update on that. So we now have Oregon at, it's not even that much Democratic, but it probably will be tomorrow. I think there may not be a poll or two in there, but all right. We now have it at a 52% likelihood. And it's more than that. It's got to be. All right. I think it'll probably get closer to 60 once that there's one more poll in there. I'm looking at RCP. I wonder how much it goes in. We'll see. But at this point, sometimes what happens, it's still a close race, and anything can happen in a Republican year, which is why I don't think you're going to get, it should not be anywhere near likely, because there's so much uncertainty with the suburban women vote, and the Republicans were doing so much better with educated whites that I really don't think you should put anything out to pasture yet on Drazden. But what happened is Johnson was polling anywhere between 12 and 17%. And as Johnson's share of that vote fell, what happened is sometimes if a state has a strong, what's called PVI, partisan voting index, okay? And many states do. If it has a strong PVI, a lot of times as you get closer to the election, if there are third-party candidates, it will revert to the PVI. Even if it looks like there may be some big crossover coming or something, and it eventually reverts to the PVI. What happened is there were Dem-leaning independents and Democrats, quite a bit of them, who were going to vote for Johnson, but then saw that Drazden probably could have a chance to win, and they were like, you know what, the hell with this. I'm not giving, the state is a mess, but I'm a Democrat, and I'm going to vote for the Democrat. I don't want to vote for Johnson because I'm pissed at the Democrat and then give it to a Republican. And that's what appears to have happened as we got closer to Election Day, especially in the last 7 days. I got to give a hat tip to Spencer Kimball at Emerson College. He clearly caught the beginning of that because we didn't even think to dip in and check on it until I saw the Spencer's poll. And then I was like, all right, I got to see this for myself. And it is happening. So it doesn't, it could be, something's happening here. It could be that, it just was, Oregon has a chance to elect a redhead babe and they decide to vote a weirdo. That's the thing. I mean, Drazden was a good candidate for Oregon. It's never hurts to be easy on the eyes, but she was really good for that state, a good fit, a good candidate. It's just that, Portland and all this other, really woke stuff over there. And we'll see, though. We'll see. It is still close. It's just that it very clearly I can see the revert to the, the PVI taking over. I can see it. All right. All right. So with that in mind, Minnesota, I think Ellison is going down. And I think Jensen probably will be closer than some of the polls suggest. The difference is that the last two polls or so show Jensen just getting killed in areas like Ramsey and Hennepin, even outside of Olmsted. You can't get killed that much. I just don't know. I don't know. Has Robert Cahaly, has Trafalgar released another poll on it? Because when I see these big separations, and then I see like Robert Cahaly, release a poll that doesn't show those kinds of disparities, he tends to be right, while others are not. Looks like they have Biden's approval tick up a little bit, by the way. They have not have another Minnesota poll, but it's some Biden's approval ticked up to 40.3, close to ours, but it's not enough. Folks, it's not enough. Look at that disapproval, 57.7%. Trump was nowhere near those numbers. Nowhere near those numbers. In Ohio, his disapproval was like 64%. It was ridiculous. That's why I'm like, this is not a close race. By the way, in Arizona, when we talk about how close some of these races will be, his approval ticked up a hair. Or no, actually ticked down since the poll we did for not 42.6. But his disapproval is 56.9. That's 57%, with Getz 0.6%, 0.6% undecided. That's Trump-like polarization. That's Obama-like polarization, where but Biden had something going for him for a while, which was a lot of undecideds, comparatively, in a modern presidential, American presidency. There usually is none. Well, he got to polarization real freaking quick, because now he's below Trump with the amount of people who say I'm undecided. Trump was like 2%. Sometimes it was lower than that in states, but this is unbelievable. Men, 58% strongly disapprove. Women, 44% strongly disapprove, another 7% somewhat disapprove. It's really bad. Really bad. Super seniors in Arizona, 59% strongly disapprove. 59. Holy crap. Prime working age, 57% between the age of 50 and 64, 40 to 49, 52%, 30 to 39, 46. That's strongly. That's not total disapprove. That's strongly, which is why I think you're seeing Data Orbital. They're undecided, so looking at them, I think that's why you're seeing Data Orbital, even though they had Kelly up by 1. Data for Progress, by the way, their final is Masters +1. But Data Orbital, which is great, they are fantastic in Arizona. I give it up to these guys. Khalid knows what the hell he's doing. He does. Him and I were basically the only. I was like tracking that race in 2020, and we were the only ones who seemed to have the right overlap between the McSally voter versus the Trump voter. And everyone else had, in the beginning, McSally outperforming Trump, and that was just not ever the case with us. All right. So I think you're seeing Data Orbital make those predictions because they're looking at their undecided. They're very, very dissatisfied people. They're very anti-Biden, anti-Democrat people. And also, if you look at the early vote, it is a very poor showing by Democrats. I mean, it's not horrible. It's just nowhere near 18, nowhere near 20. It's closer to 18 than 20. But, it's not where it needs to be. And if Republicans can vote tomorrow, if they go and vote tomorrow, then they will do it. The Republicans will do it. Kansas is still blue on 538. Exactly. I've been down this road before with 538. Greg Orman, he had that way more than the polls even suggested. Also, Paul Davis, he had way ahead, basically certain to defeat Sam Brownback, and Sam Brownback held on. He did more than held on. He won by like 4 points. Pat Roberts, he had Greg Orman defeating him. Pat Roberts won by 11. I've been down this road in Kansas before. It is more. Now, can the Democrat win? Of course. But if you look at all pro-GOP years in Kansas, the Republican candidate outperforms their polling, and they do it pretty consistently. I bet you we still got Oklahoma blue, too, even though it was very clearly it was like way up, way up. Oh, my God, Laura, somebody mentioned Wawa Hoagie and the cheesesteaks. Oh, my God, why did you do that to me? Oh, I love Wawa. All right. With that in mind, I'm going to boogie, guys. Keep your eye out for the video tomorrow, all right? And we will see you. Get your rest, eat your Wheaties. It's going to be a very long night, all right?
And don't forget your caffeine tap.
And don't forget your caffeine, for sure. We'll be looking forward to when Robert comes to join. It should be really cool. All right, guys, all the best. I will see you soon, okay? Thanks for joining. Thanks for signing up. We'll see you tomorrow.
Deuces.
Deuces.